नमस्ते गुरुजी। जय गुरुजी महाराज। जय गुरुजी सत्संगत जी। मल्टीलिंगुअल ग्लोबल सेवादार टीम की तरफ से आपका एक बार फिर स्वागत है। संगत जी, आज हम सब एक बार फिर धन्य हो जाएंगे गुरुजी महाराज की ब्लेस संगत छबिलेंद्र राहुल जी की डिवाइन पुस्तक, जिसको हम ग्रंथ कहते हैं, गुरुजी लाइफ इन स्पिरिचुअलिज्म का 31st सेशन आज हम सब लोग सुनेंगे। आज का सेशन सेकंड लास्ट सेशन है। 24 जनवरी को लास्ट सेशन होगा। आज रीडर कम एनालाइस्ट होंगे श्री गोपाल सेठी अंकल जी, जो कि ओल्ड संगत हैं गुरुजी महाराज की, और इंटरवेंशनिस्ट होंगे दीपक मल्होत्रा जी, जो कि ओल्ड संगत हैं गुरुजी महाराज के, और छबिलेंद्र राव जी। इससे पहले कि हम सब ये सेशन सुने, मैं गोपाल सेठी अंकल जी के बारे में संगत जी को बताना चाहूंगा। आज पूरे गुरु संगत में गोपाल सेठी अंकल जी को कौन नहीं जानता, लेकिन फिर भी जो नए रीडर्स हैं, जो नए पार्टिसिपेंट्स हैं, उनके लिए गोपाल सेठी uncle and ardent follower of Guruji Maharaj came into Guruji's sharan in this life during early 2000. Behind his excellent conducting of erudite satsang in various platforms, Gopalji's uncle educational and professional background comes handy. He is a graduate in commerce and an MBA. He has served in various capacities in apparel and textile sector in India, Bangladesh, and Hong Kong. His latest position was Director of Finance and Operations. Gopal Sethi Uncle Ji is also a motivational speaker as well as a professional skill development expert for managers for global companies. I would like to introduce Deepak Malhotra Uncle Ji. General Deepak Malhotra Ji got conducted to Guruji Maharaj in 1992 at Chhabilendra days along with his family. He and Sudarshan, his wife, a good wife, have been fortunate to have received Guruji's blessings continuously and been closely connected throughout. संगत जी, मैं आपको सुदर्शन आंटी के बारे में बताऊंगा कि सुदर्शन आंटी जी पिछले साल गुरुजी महाराज के चरणों में चली गई हैं। सुदर्शन आंटी वॉज ए प्योर डेडिकेटेड सोल ऑफ गुरुजी महाराज। बहुत ही सच्ची आत्मा, सच्ची सोल, गुरुजी के भगत। The complete family have been many experiences and satsangs which they keep sharing. His children Nikki Malhotra and Kunal Malhotra are also equally connected to Guruji Maharaj. संगत जी, अब मैं राहुल अंकल जी के बारे में बताऊंगा। डॉक्टर छबिलेंद्र राहुल जी, गुरु संगत अब उनको अच्छी तरह जान चुकी है। जो नए पार्टिसिपेंट्स हैं उनके लिए मैं बताना चाहूंगा कि डॉक्टर छबिलेंद्र राहुल जी is author of the book Guruji Life in Spiritualism, and he was fondly called Rahul by Guruji Maharaj. Rahul uncle had darshans of Guruji Maharaj during his Jalandhar days. He is a retired civil servant and personally member Central Administrative Tribunal, CAT, Delhi, Government of India. संगत जी, अब हम सब गुरु परिवार की तरफ से गोपाल सेठी अंकल जी से रिक्वेस्ट करेंगे कि वो प्लीज अपने आप को अनम्यूट करें और आज का जो सेशन है, वो आज के सेशन में 31st सेशन है। चैप्टर 13 पेजेस 307 टू 3017 हम सब लोग सुनेंगे। ओवर टू यू गोपाल अंकल, हार्दिक स्वागत है आपका। जय गुरु जी।
जय गुरु जी अंकल। मेरी आवाज आई होप ठीक से आ रही होगी।
यू आर ऑडिबल अंकल
जी। गुरु जी के चरणों में कोटि कोटि प्रणाम और आप सभी संगत जी को प्यार भरा। अब इससे बड़ा सौभाग्य और क्या हो सकता है कि राहुल अंकल ने गुरु जी के निर्देश पर एक बहुत ही सुंदर पुस्तक लिखी। उसका पाठन सुरेश अंकल ने अपने प्लेटफॉर्म पे शुरू कराया और उसका एक छोटा भाग बन पाना ये बहुत बड़े नसीब की बात है, क्योंकि ये जो पुस्तकें होती हैं ये गुरु का ही स्वरूप होती हैं और गुरु के निर्देश पर, गुरु का एहसास लेकर के जो पुस्तक लिखी जाए वो तो ज्ञान से परिपूर्ण होती ही है। तो मेरा सौभाग्य रहा है कि मैं आज पहले भी कुछ सेशंस में भाग ले चुका हूं, और आज मुझे जो चैप्टर पढ़ने के लिए बताया गया, जिसका एक कुछ अंश मैं पढ़ूंगा, मेलोडीज ऑफ इंटरप्रिटेशन। बहुत ही सुंदर सब्जेक्ट है, क्योंकि होता क्या है कि हम कुछ सुनते हैं, कुछ पढ़ते हैं, कुछ देखते हैं, उसका पूर्ण रूपेण अर्थ जाने बिना हम अपनी अपनी उसमें फंक्शनैलिटीज कह लें, या अपने अपने विचार कह लें, या अपनी अपनी सोच कह लें, हम उसमें डालने, अपनी कन्वीनियंस को भी उसमें डाल देते हैं कि हाँ, गुरुजी ने ऐसा कहा तो शायद ये इसलिए कहा होगा, या गुरुजी ने वैसा बताया तो वो इसलिए बताया होगा। तो ये चैप्टर उन्हीं भ्रांतियों को दूर करने के लिए लिखा है राहुल अंकल ने, और इसमें बहुत ही वैलिड और बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट्स को टच किया है राहुल अंकल ने। तो जैसे जैसे हम इसको पढ़ते जाएंगे, वैसे वैसे हमारे जो भ्रांतियां कुछ मन में आ जाती हैं कभी कभी, कि इसका ये कारण रहा होगा या वो कारण रहा होगा, तो उनको हम दूर करने का प्रयास करेंगे इस सेशन में, जो भी 307 से लेकर के 317 पेज तक जो पढ़ना है मुझे। तो मैं 307 पेज से पहले ही जो 306 पेज का लास्ट पैरा है वहीं से पढ़ना आरंभ करता हूं, ताकि वो एक कंटिन्यूटी और रेलेवेंस बनी रहेगी। लास्ट पैरा में राहुल अंकल लिखते हैं कि द योगी विद द अटेनमेंट ऑफ कैवल्य समाधि does not distinguish between his self and Param Brahma. In that stage, the yogi realizes and utters that he is Brahma himself. This is the ultimate stage of yogic attainment with the Lord's grace. जो कैवल्य समाधि का शब्द प्रयोग किया यहाँ पर राहुल अंकल ने, ये मोक्ष का एक अल्टीमेट है। उससे पहले और भी मोक्ष की स्वरूप होते हैं, जैसे सायुज्य, सालोक्य, सारूप इत्यादि। लेकिन ये कैवल्य समाधि, ये बहुत ज्यादा योगिक तपस्या और गुरु की कृपा या शिव जी की कृपा से ही उपलब्ध है। So can we interpret the saying of Guruji from that angle? It is left to the individual reader, devotee, spiritual seeker to internalize the saying in that manner. The Shiv Puran is replete with the concept of Purna Guru and the equivalency of it with Lord Shiva. इसमें चर्चा है, कैलाश संहिता से लिया हुआ है कुछ और संहिताओं से लिया हुआ है। जो लोग शिव पुराण पढ़ते हैं वो जानते हैं कि कैलाश संहिता एक बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण संहिता है। कैलाश जो महादेव का सबसे प्रिय स्थल है, तो उसी में बताया है, द प्रीसेप्टर गुरु इज द शिवा एंड शिवा इज द प्रीसेप्टर। गुरु ही शिव है, शिव ही गुरु है। The ascetics, after deciding this in mind, shall express his intention to acquire spiritual wisdom. ये वर्स 12.34 में लिखा हुआ है। O sage, the Shruti says, think that everything is Brahma, everything is Rudra. Thus, Sadashiv is the Atma of the universe. बहुत सुंदर कोट है वहां से लिया हुआ, कि हम सब में ब्रह्म है, हम सब शिव का अंश हैं। तो हमको अपने आप को भी इसी रूप में देखना चाहिए, लेकिन हम एक बूंद हैं उस महासागर की, जो 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 हमारा एम अब हो जाता है कि हम वो बूंद उसी सागर में जाकर के मिल जाए। Due to the 38 kalas, the concept of duality is ever present, but he who has purified the Atma by the concept, I am Sadashiv, Aham Brahmasmi, जैसे कहते हैं, becomes the preceptor Shiva. ये वर्स 14.35 में बताया है। Such a disciple becomes the preceptor Shiva himself. he attains the form of the yantras, mantras and the cosmic deity Lord itself. ये जो है वर्स 14.36 का भाग है। अब गुरुजी ने हमें इस बारे में क्या सिखाया या गुरु क्या सिखाते हैं? The Guru teaches the disciple, the Shishya, that he, the disciple, should be able to realize that he is Shiva. मैं शिव हूँ, जैसा कि वेदों में भी लिखा, अहम ब्रह्मास्मि, मैं ब्रह्म हूँ. In the initiation of the disciple, the Guru bows to the disciple as he is considered as Shiva. But before imparting or bestowing such spiritual wisdom, the Guru tests the disciple whether he is ready and capable of such an initiation. ये बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण बात है. हम गुरु के पास जब जाते हैं तो हमारी अवस्था सबकी अलग अलग है. कोई प्राइमरी सेक्शन में है, कोई सेकेंडरी, कोई हायर में है. तो गुरु हमको हमारी एबिलिटी एनालाइज करके ही जो भी दीक्षा देते हैं, दीक्षा का पर्पज यही होता है हम आगे बढ़ें. अगर प्राइमरी अवस्था में है तो सेकेंडरी में जाएं, सेकेंडरी है तो हायर एजुकेशन में जाएं. तो गुरु ये जो बात बहुत ही सुंदर तरीके से बताई कि गुरु टेस्ट द डिसाइपल्स वेदर ही इज रेडी एंड केपेबल ऑफ सच एन इनिशिएशन. शिव, who is beyond the three gunas, imparts Shiva Tattva to the Shishya. That is the reason Shiva is called the Guru. Beyond the gunas, worshipping the Guru is worshipping Lord Shiva. ये अनेक धर्म ग्रंथों में यही समझाया गया है. गुरु तत्व में भी यही बताया गया है, गुरु गीता में भी यही बताया गया है, शिव पुराण में तो ये समझाया ही गया है. और गुरु जी भी समझा गए. शिव को वैसे भी आदि गुरु, आदि योगी कहा गया है. Shiva, we also have the famous Guru Strotam verses to the Guru by Adi Shankaracharya. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. तो ये आदि शंकराचार्य जी का जो श्लोक है ये इसमें यहाँ कोट किया गया है. इसका अर्थ है, प्रेयर्स टू यू ओ माय गुरु, हु इज ब्रह्मा द क्रिएटर, हु इज द विष्णु द प्रिजर्वर एंड हु इज द महेश्वरा द डिस्ट्रॉयर. With this knowledge, Guru, you are the Par Brahma, Supreme God, or the Absolute Truth. My salutation and obeisance to you, Shri Guru. हम गुरु जी को बारंबार नमन करें. गुरु में ही हम ब्रह्मा, विष्णु और महेश सबको देखें. So can we interpret the aphorism of Guruji's I am Shiva in the above sense of a Puran Guru who is equated with the Lord Shiva? Aphorism जो शब्द यूज किया बहुत ही अप्रोप्रिएट है. ये कुछ सूक्तियां होती हैं कि भाई जैसे अगर मान लीजिए हम वो प्रयोग करते हैं अहम ब्रह्मास्मि, तो क्या ये कहने मात्र से मैं ब्रह्म हो गया, या जैसा अभी राहुल अंकल ने समझा रहे हैं कि कैन वी इंटरप्रिटेट दिस एफोरिज्म ऑफ गुरुजी. गुरुजी जैसे कहते थे कि मैं शिव हूं, तो और वो इस सेंस में कि वो पूर्ण गुरु हैं, हु इज इक्वेटेड विद द लॉर्ड शिवा. तो अब आगे शिव पुराण के बारे में बताया है राहुल अंकल ने. रीडिंग द शिव पुराण. The Revered Guruji had during his physical days told some of the Sangat to read the Shiv Puran regularly. I am one of them. Other times, some Sangat have heard him uttering the phrase Shiv Puran padna chahiye. You should read Shiv Puran. It has been observed that many a Sangat have taken this aphorism in the literal sense without going into its deeper spiritual connotations. ठीक बात है कि ये तो हमने सुन लिया कि शिव पुराण पढ़ना चाहिए, लेकिन किसको पढ़ना चाहिए, किस भावना से पढ़ना चाहिए, उसको कैसे समझना चाहिए, ये सब इसमें बड़े अच्छे से राहुल अंकल ने हमें समझाया. द रेवर्ड गुरुजी वाज अ पैरागॉन ऑफ वर्च्यू. वो एक तरह से कहें जो गुणों की खान या गुणों के आदर्श उदाहरण हम सबके लिए बहुत ही कम शब्दों में बहुत बड़ी बड़ी बात कह देते थे। तो रबर्ट गुरुजी वॉज अ पैरागॉन ऑफ वर्च्यूज, ही वॉज बियॉन्ड डॉगमेटिज्म। मतलब डॉगमेटिज्म का अर्थ इस तरह समझ सकते हैं कि हम लकीर के फकीर, साधारण भाषा में बोलचाल में कहें, वैसे वैसे मतांध है कि हम एक ब्लाइंड फोल्ड होकर के किसी बात का कोई अर्थ लगा लेते हैं और वो ही हमारे लिए सर्वसत्य बन जाता है। तो sorry, it has been observed that many a Sangat have taken this aphorism in the literal sense without going into its deeper spiritual connotations. The Revered Guruji was a paragon of virtues. He was beyond dogmatism. He was not known to practice a rigid code of conduct to the Sangat. जो संगत उस समय भाग ले पाते थे और जो संगत अब सत्संग गुरु जी के अटेंड करती है, जो सत्संग उस समय की संगत से सुन पाती है, वो अभी तक वो समझ गए हैं गुरु जी के गुरु जी ने कभी भी किसी के ऊपर कुछ भी थोपा नहीं। वो जीवन शैली हमारी कैसी होनी चाहिए, हम क्या करना चाहिए, हमारी दिनचर्या कैसी हो, हम सुबह उठ के अमृत वेला करें ना करें, हम कितना पाठ करें क्या ना करें, ध्यान में बैठे ना बैठे, शिव पुराण का एक पेज पढ़े या एक अध्याय पढ़े, ये सब हमारी फ्री विल पे उन्होंने छोड़ा। उन्होंने बहुत ही सरल स्वरूप बताया कि चंगा बंदा बनो, नाम जपो, जैसे गुरु नानक ने भी समझाया कि नाम जपो, वंड छको, किरत करो। So he was not known to prescribe a rigid code of conduct to the Sangat. Hence, when he uttered the aphorism that one should read the Shiv Puran, that should not be construed as a commandment, as done by some Sangat trying to interpret the statement in the literal sense. Guruji has among his followers or devotees people from all sections of society, and many of them belong to religious communities other than Hinduism. A lot of his followers belong to the Sikh community. I had witnessed the presence of many Muslims, Christians, Jains, and Buddhists in the Sangat. A prominent Muslim family from Kashmir was frequently coming to Guruji's Darbar at Empire Estate. Similarly, there were the famous Christian expatriates. One of them was a famous musician who was an ardent follower of Guruji. A devotee's husband, who was also an ardent follower of Guruji, was from Ireland and a practicing Catholic. Guruji would never dissuade his followers from respecting other religions, religious teachings, and other highly evolved gurus. How can such a cosmopolitan and highly evolved guru be confined to the narrow tenets of reading only the Shiv Puran? Yes, it is very true. और ये हमको मतलब गुरुजी ने यही तो सिखाया कि हम वो एक दूसरे की भावनाओं की कदर करें, एक दूसरे की जो शिक्षा है उसकी कदर करें, एक दूसरे के जो फेथ है, बिलीफ सिस्टम है, उसकी उसको कदर करें, किसी की भावना को ठेस नहीं पहुंचानी है, ये इम्पोज करके कि ऐसा ही करना चाहिए बस। तो ये तो उचित नहीं है। बिल्कुल ठीक तरीके से राहुल अंकल ने समझाया हम सबको। However, there should be no doubt about the universal appeal of the lucid and sacred Shiva Purana. From this, it is imperative that the aphorism "you should read Shiv Puran" should be interpreted and understood in the broader broader context of Guruji's spiritualism, then narrowly prescribing each and every individual to read the physical text. Like when I tell someone about Shiv Puran, क्योंकि मुझे जैसे मैंने अभी बताया कि मुझे गुरुजी ने कहा शिव पुराण पढ़ा करो, जब ये कहा मुझे ये भी नहीं मालूम था कि शिव पुराण मिलेगी कहाँ से। तो दूसरी संगत ने हमारी हेल्प की और वो ला करके उन्होंने ही ला करके हमें दी, और गुरुजी की कृपा रही कि गुरुजी ने उसको ब्लेस किया, उस पर अपने साधारण भाषा में कहें ऑटोग्राफ्स भी दिए, ब्लेसिंग्स भी लिखी हम सब पूरे परिवार के लिए। तो अगर मैं किसी को कहता हूं कि मैं शिव पुराण पढ़ता हूं और ये भी कह देता हूं कि कई संगत को गुरुजी ने कहा शिव पुराण पढ़ने के लिए, लेकिन मेरा ये दायित्व भी बनता है, मैं ये ना कहूं कि चूंकि मुझे कहा है तो आप भी पढ़ा करो। ये स्वेच्छा पर निर्भर करता है। और शिव पुराण जब हम पढ़ते हैं तो उसका जो डीपर मीनिंग है उसको समझने की जरूरत है, रादर देन जस्ट बीइंग ऑन द सरफेस। From this, it is imperative that the aphorism you should read Shiv Puran should be interpreted and understood in the broader context of Guruji's spiritualism, then narrowly prescribing each and every individual to read the physical text. The aphorisms are context and the time specific in their interpretation. Guruji used to say that God is revealed to man easily in the age of Kali Yuga. बिल्कुल ठीक बात है। मैं कहीं पढ़ रहा था कि कलयुग में नाम आधारा क्यों कहा गया है, क्योंकि कलयुग एक ऐसा समय है, बहुत ही कठिन समय है, विकृत समय है। हम जो हमारे जो टीचिंग्स हैं या जो भी बिलीफ सिस्टम है उनका वो क्षीण होते आ रहे हैं। सतयुग से त्रेता, त्रेता से द्वापर और द्वापर से अब कलयुग, और कलयुग भी घोर कलयुग। तो ऐसे में, और दूसरी बात यह है कि आज के वो पहले वाला समय नहीं है। आज से कुछ समय पहले की हम बात करें तो लाला जी दुकान खोलते थे सुबह 9 बजे, 12 बजे घर चले जाते थे, विश्राम करके 4 बजे आते थे, 7-8 बजे तक दुकान चलाई और चले गए। अब वो विषमताएं हो गई हैं। अब 12 घंटे की जॉब प्रोफाइल होती है, 2 घंटे आना 2 घंटे जाना, यानी कि 16 घंटे उसी में बीत जाते हैं। तो इसीलिए गुरुजी ने भी कहा नाम का आधार बनाओ, गुरबाणी से हमें कनेक्ट किया, और ये भी कहा कि जब आप ड्राइव कर रहे हो तब भी आप ईश्वर को याद कर सकते हो, जब आप कुछ भी कार्य कर रहे हो, घर के कार्य कर रहे हो, तब भी आप नाम का जाप कर सकते हो। तो ये कलयुग में हमें एक सहूलियत मिल गई है, जबकि और युगों में बहुत घोर तप किए जाते थे। जैसे जब आप शिव पुराण पढ़ेंगे तो समझ में आएगा कितना तप किया माँ पार्वती ने, माँ सती ने महादेव को पाने के लिए। Guruji used to say that God is revealed to men easily in the age of Kali Yuga, but people are reluctant to spend even 10 minutes a day for spiritual quest. Under such circumstances, the long path of austerity, yoga and meditation, yoga marg, becomes difficult for the ever busy modern man. The better alternative is the Bhakti Yoga to God's doors. Bhakti Yoga involves Shravan, listening to satsang about Lord Shiva, Kirtan, singing or talking about the glory of Lord Shiva, and Manan, remembering or meditating on Lord Shiva, remembering his high qualities, his forms, his names, and Leela with a pure mind. This Bhakti Yoga can be extended to any form of God, चाहे वो लॉर्ड विष्णु हो, लॉर्ड कृष्ण हो, लॉर्ड शिवा और एनी अदर हिंदू डेटी। फॉर्म अलग अलग हो सकती है, लेकिन है तो सबका मालिक एक, एक ओंकार, ओम, जिस भी नाम से हम पुकारें। शिवा और एनी अदर हिंदू डेटी, गुरु द एनलाइटेंड बुद्धा और लॉर्ड महावीर, जीसस क्राइस्ट, all 7 forms of the Lord. And if you are a spiritually evolved soul, the Nirgun Nirvikar, without form and beyond the 3 gunas, the Supreme Self, Param Brahma, Allah, Akal Purush, God, whichever name you love to ascribe him, worship him. सही बात है, बिल्कुल सरल तरीके से राहुल अंकल ने यहाँ he has put across this thing. ये जो 3 बातें यहाँ समझाई, आगे भी इनका चर्चा है, वो जब चर्चा आएगी तब करेंगे. So the Purans open up wide windows and doors to the spiritual world. They help destroy ignorance, illuminate vistas of knowledge, provide guidance for the present, and caution about the pitfalls to be avoided in the future. The trinity of Shravan, Kirtan, and Manan is an integral part of enlightening the human psyche. अगर इसको हम ध्यान से देखें, श्रवण, कीर्तन, मनन, ये स्पिरिचुअल मार्ग का तो है ही है, लेकिन हमारा जीवन भी तो ऐसे ही चलता है. जब जीवात्मा पृथ्वी पर जन्म लेती है, वो बोल नहीं सकती, केवल सुन सकती है, वो भी सरल भाषा. तो सबसे पहले श्रवण ही होता है, बच्चा सुनता ही सुनता है. जो भी उसके बायोलॉजिकल पेरेंट्स हैं, माता पिता या और भी सराउंडिंग्स में, वो उसको कुछ कुछ बोलते हैं, अच्छी बातें समझाने का प्रयास करते हैं। फिर जब वो थोड़ा सा बड़ा बड़ा होता है, उसी श्रवण के माध्यम से वो बोलना सीखता है, यानी कि कीर्तन कहना, कुछ कहना। और फिर जैसे जैसे और बड़े हो जाते हैं, फिर हमारी शिक्षा आरंभ होती है, तो वो मनन भी आरंभ होता है कि मेरे माता पिता ने मुझे ये बात समझाई कि ईश्वर को, ईश्वर का नाम जपते रहा करो, ईश्वर का ध्यान किया करो, या जो भी और बातें, उस पर फिर वो विचार करने योग्य हो जाता है। तो ये श्रवण कीर्तन और मनन हमारे जीवन का एक नितांत हिस्सा है। The trinity of Shravan, Kirtan, and Manan is an integral part of enlightening the human psyche. The triumph of good over evil, the standards of character set by the sages and devotees, and the exemplary action of the incarnations all prove the existence of the Supreme Self. Reading the Shiv Puran or any other spiritual text or scripture of any religious community embodies the three functions of Shravan, Kirtan, and Manan. And it is a journey on the path of spiritualism. It is in this context the aphorism of Guruji that one should read the Shiv Puran should be understood. जब हम बात करते हैं योग की, ईश्वर से, योग वो शारीरिक एक्टिविटी की बात नहीं कर रहा मैं, योग मतलब ईश्वर से मिलन की, आत्मा का परमात्मा से मिलन। वो हमारे शास्त्रों में अष्टांग योग एक बात कही है। उसके अगर दो पहले भाग को ही हम अच्छे से पढ़ लें और अच्छे से समझ लें, बाकी के जो धारणा आसन इत्यादि हैं वो सब फिर सरल होते जाते हैं। उसमें जो दो बातें, दो चीजें जो कही ब्रॉडली, यम और नियम, यानी कि हमको अपनी एक मनुष्य के रूप में हमारा जीवन कैसा होना चाहिए, सत्यवादी होना चाहिए, डिसिप्लिन होना चाहिए, किसी, जैसे गुरुजी ने भी समझाया, किसी की बुराई ना करो, किसी से ईर्ष्या ना करो, किसी को गलत बोलो नहीं। तो ये सब बातें जब हम हमारे को समझ में आने लगती हैं, तब हमारा ईश्वर से कनेक्शन शुरू हो जाता है, और फिर ईश्वर स्वयं हमारी मदद करते हैं उस स्पिरिचुअलिज्म मार्ग पर आगे बढ़ने के लिए। The second contextual content of the aphorism comes from the purity of purpose and concentration it provides for attaining the stillness of mind for higher spiritual attainment. As we have discussed earlier, the human mind is full of wavering thoughts, and the mind with its past memory, including generational memory and perpetual ways, natural forces, acts as an impediment for self-realization and superconsciousness. Hence, the sages advocate gradual training of the mind through yoga, satsang, and reading of scriptures to prevent the mind from getting embroiled in फ्यूरिटिव थॉट्स, जो इधर उधर की बातें हैं। हम सबके साथ ऐसा होता है, ये कोई नई बात नहीं है। जो ध्यान में जुड़ना चाहते हैं वो ये एक्सपीरियंस करते होंगे कि विशेषकर जब हम ध्यान में बैठते हैं तभी ये सारी इधर उधर की बातें आती हैं, जो पूरे दिन में नहीं आ रही होती। वो शाम को हम जब बैठते हैं 5 मिनट 10 मिनट आधा घंटा के, उस वक्त ना जाने कहाँ कहाँ से वो आ जाती हैं जहन में। तो उनको सरल तरीका यही है, उनको थोड़ा सा ऐसे साइडवेज रास्ता दिखाएं, इधर चले जाओ भाई, इधर चले जाओ, मुझे कुछ करने दो। गुरुजी से प्रेयर करें कि हम गुरुजी अब मैं आपके ध्यान में बैठ रहा हूँ, मुझे केवल और केवल आपका ही ध्यान होना चाहिए। Hence, the sages advocate gradual training of the mind through yoga, satsang, and reading of scriptures to prevent the mind from getting embroiled in furtive thoughts. Reading the Shiv Puran may serve this purpose to some extent. The time spent in listening, reading, and discussing scriptures like the Shiv Puran, Bible, Sri Guru Granth Sahib, etc., puts the mind in a positive groove, which ultimately leads to a better spiritual journey. कई योग शास्त्री जो हैं वो यही समझाते हैं कि आप कोई मंत्र जाप करें, कोई भजन सुने, कोई कीर्तन की तरफ ध्यान लगाएं, या कोई अपने इष्ट देव की ओर ध्यान केंद्रित करके ध्यान लगाएं। The third contextual domain of the aphorism one should read the Shiv Puran could be Guruji's way to initiate the uninitiated to the great Indian spiritual tradition. It is generally accepted that the universal spiritual tradition of India is embodied in three categories of ancient texts, the Vedas, the Upanishads, and the Bhagavad Gita. The Purans are aimed at mediating the profound and complex spiritual context or truths of the Vedas. Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita for the understanding of the common man not versed with the Vedic Sanskrit and abstract spiritual tenets. The Purans are meant for the common people and describe the times, tribulations, and triumphs of their heroes. Most use the abundance of religious and philosophical concepts in their narration from Bhakti to Sankhya. The Purans, composed between CE 250 and CE 1000, convey the philosophies of higher texts like the Vedas, Upanishads, and Gita in the form of short stories. Almost all Purans have these higher texts as their fountainhead of the philosophy, with a little emphasis here and there. The Purans revolve around the essence of these texts, popularizing through concrete examples, myths, stories, legends, lives of saints, kings, and great men, allegories, and chronicles of great historical events. The Purans are not meant for scholars, but for ordinary persons who can hardly fathom the high philosophy of the Vedas and other higher spiritual texts. गुरुजी ने हमें वेद पढ़ने के लिए नहीं कहा, शिव पुराण कहा, क्योंकि जैसे अभी हमने पढ़ा कि गुरुजी कहते थे मैं शिव हूं, तो वो शिव क्या है, शिव का जो निराकार रूप है या इवन साकार रूप वो क्या है, शिव को प्राप्त करने के लिए क्या क्या करना होता है, ये सब शिव पुराण में बड़ी सरल भाषा में बताया गया है. The fourth context of the aphorism may be the deepening of the knowledge by the devotee about Lord Shiva. Guruji is a Mahayogi and Lord Shiva symbolizes the perfect yogic personality. Guruji's Jalandhar and Bade Mandir contain the Saguna Swarup of Lord Shiva along with the Swarup of Guru Nanak. It symbolizes the path he wants the devotees to follow for spiritual growth. As it has been told by many a Sangat, Guruji used to tell that the Bade Mandir contains the divine energy of the 12 Jyotirlingas. Moreover, the Bade Mandir, architecturally approved and conceptualized by Guruji himself, symbolizes the Nirguna formlessness of Shiva in the form of a huge Shivalinga. Projecting to the sky, there is also the Shiva Swarup installed in the middle of the fountain in the front side of the Mandir. The importance given to Lord Shiva in all his utterances, the practices of having Shiva Swarup in the Mandir, the conceptualization and execution of the architectural design of the Bade Mandir in the form of a huge Shivalinga leads us to the inference that Guruji, through the above aphorism, also inspires the devotees to know the essence of Lord Shiva. The Shiva Tattva, the fountainhead of universal spiritualism, in more depth. The devotees are subtly guided to have glimpses of important themes having significant spiritual and philosophical connotations in the Shiv Purana. Amish Tripathi, an author, in his Shiva trilogy, describes Lord Shiva in the anthropomorphic terms more as an extraordinary person who rose to become God Shiva, the Mahadev, the God of gods, destroyer of evil, passionate lover, fierce warrior, consummate dancer, charismatic leader, all powerful yet incorruptible, quick wit accompanied by equally quick and fearsome temper. ये मनुष्य की एक तरह से जर्नी जो अमीश त्रिपाठी ने समझाई कि कैसे आत्मा से परमात्मा तक कह लें या जीव से जीवात्मा से परमात्मा तक की जो जर्नी है, और ये जर्नी तभी संभव होगी जब हम तीनों गुणों से ऊपर उठ पाएं. The Shiva Puran eulogizes the glory and greatness of Lord Shiva, describes the philosophical principles of Shiva Tattva, the greatness of his divinity, his attributes and symbols apart from the rituals of his worship. For a plain reader, There are plenty of interesting stories with deep philosophical undertones and hints for a bhakti yoga to realize the ultimate truth. By directing the devotees to read the Shiv Puran, Guruji was motivating the devotees to start a philosophical journey through the easily understood Shiv Puran. Now, the next aspect is interpretation of dreams. We all get Guruji's dreams, some very frequently, some occasionally, some one-to-one conversation, some in the Guruji's सानिध्य सत्संग में बैठे हुए इस तरह से आते हैं. तो वो क्या है, और गुरुजी ने भी, मैंने जो सुना संगत से, गुरुजी ने कहा कि ये ड्रीम्स नहीं हैं, ये मेरा स्वरूप के दर्शन. तो आइए राहुल अंकल इस बारे में क्या कहते हैं वो जानते हैं हम. These days, there are hundreds of satsang being rendered by devotees every week in several of these satsang using telepathy. Guruji interprets the personal dreams of a devotee for their doubts about materialistic attainments, decision to be taken in real life, and in rare cases about spiritual pursuits. Some others are peddled as commandments of Guruji for the general Sangat. This is a dangerous trend or phenomenon. When Guruji was physically present, he would directly or subtly corroborate such telepathy before the disciple or follower would mention the dream. Guruji would usually and invariably tell the contents of the dream and would direct the devotee to narrate the experience of his telepathy. और गुरुजी विद से देखा, गुरुजी ਨੂੰ याद ਕੀਤਾ ਤੇ ਗੁरुਜੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਕੱਲ ਰਾਤ ਨੂੰ ਆਏ ਸੀ. See, you remembered Guruji yesterday night and I was compelled to go there. But now Guruji's physical corroboration and testimony will not be there, and under such circumstances there is a scope for mischief and misinformation. Elements inimical to Guruji's glory may exploit the gullible devotees with their sinister design to malign him, parodying their own ideas as telepathy by Guruji. The other day, somebody told one Sangat coordinator in East Asia that Guruji came in his dream and told him that a particular devotee should not do satsang at the appointed time on the scheduled date, and instead the gentleman would do the satsang. Guruji corroborating telepathy. The couple, Bambi and SETHI, are ardent followers of Guruji. It was SETHI who was allowed to have Guruji's darshan at Empire State. Bambi was allowed to do seva in the Bade Mandir during daytime. It was between the Guru and the disciple that this arrangement was going on for a considerable period. One day, Bambi had a dream in which Guruji said to her that SETHI should take theplas, flavorful flatbreads for the Sangat to be served during Langar. Bambi told SETHI about the dream and Guruji's telepathy, but SETHI was of the view that such telepathies should not be taken seriously. The day passed without any noteworthy event. SETHI went to have Guruji's darshan as usual at the Empire State. SETHI was also allowed by Guruji to do seva during Langar time. When he was in the kitchen, Chotu, Sudha auntie's help came to him and said that Guruji was inquiring whether he had brought the theplas for the Sangat. SETHI got the shock of his life. He had to silently pray to Guruji to pardon him. Guruji was there to confirm the telepathy for this case. In the absence of Guruji's physical presence, one cannot take all dreams involving Guruji as telepathy and act upon that. Dreaming is a highly emotional process. Let's not parrot those personalized details as having universal message for the Sangat, nor should we interpret the dreams as telepathy from the divinity, our revered Guruji. Even if the dreams, according to our personal understanding, are telepathy from a higher authority, we should keep them to yours. One should keep them to oneself. That way, we pay greater respect to our revered Guruji. Shlok 4 of the Mandukya Upanishad also describes the dream state and hence the imperatives for interpretation. It states, Swapna Stanonta Prajanna Saptang Ekona Vismati Mukha Pravivikita Bhuk Tejaso Dvitiya Pada. I'm sorry for the mistakes, whatever I may have made. So the explanation of the shloka is, the second quarter is Tejaso. Its field is the dream state. Its consciousness is inward turned. It is 7-limbed and 19-mouthed. It enjoys subtle objects. So during a dream, the mind creates various kinds of objects out of impressions produced by experience of the waking state. The mind reproduces the whole waking life in dream through the forces of avidya, kama, and karma. The mind is the perceiver, and it is also the perceived in the dream. The desires that are not satisfied during the waking state are gratified in the dream state. Dream is the state during which the Atma is referred as Tejas. Tej se Tejas bana hai. The dream state is the state in which the senses are rest. Here the object of experience is consciousness, consisting of vasanas, affinities, and desires, the impressions of subtle past experiences. The dreamer creates a world of his own during this state. The mind alone works independently in this state. The senses are withdrawn into the mind, which also withdraws itself from the outside world and plays in the dream with vasanas and samskaras. It enjoys the objects made up of fine ideas, which are products of desire. The world of dream, being subtle, projects only in the mind. So one has to be the dreamer, and the other party should be very, very careful of interpretation and the commandments which are perceived by us to be observed or not. The next aspect mentioned here is commandments of Guruji. Guruji ने जब संगत में जब वो भौतिक शरीर में विद्यमान थे तो उन्होंने कुछ बातें अलग अलग समय पर अलग अलग संगत को कुछ डायरेक्शंस कुछ प्रेजेस कहे उनके बारे में I think which is there. Commandments of Guruji. It has been seen that some devotees of Guruji have reproduced the aphorisms of Guruji and termed them as commandments of Guruji. However, the concept of commandments is anathema to the great Indian spiritual tradition as well as to Eastern tradition. Unlike the Indian spiritual tradition, the Abrahamic traditions of the West put greater value and emphasis on the authority of the religious books and rules and commandments drawn directly from them. On the other hand, the Eastern traditions, including the Indian traditions, do not frown upon rejections of the books and the scriptures. These are considered as guides only, which is very true. जो कुछ भी कहा गया है वो हमें कुछ समझाने के लिए बिल्कुल वो एकदम टू द टी और उसको एज इट इज हमको धारणा है ये उचित नहीं है. यही बात हमें राहुल अंकल यहाँ बता रहे हैं जो उन्होंने समझाया कि वेस्ट में क्या होता है और ईस्ट में यानी कि इंडियन सनातन धर्म में इंडियन ट्रेडिशंस में क्या होता है. These are considered as guides only. One is free to pick a way suitable to them. There are no commandments. There are recommendations. Guruji was neither known for sermonizing or preaching, nor did he insist upon a particular way of life or spiritual practice. He abjured to prescribe rigid rituals or disciplines to be adopted by the spiritual seekers, devotees. His simplicity of spiritualism was bhakti yoga, and the freedom to the individual devotee to follow the path he thinks appropriate. Guruji would provide subtle hints so the individual devotee or spiritual aspirants takes the right cue for themselves. The methodologies, the practices, the paths so internalized are unique to that individual devotee. There are no standardized method, practice, path prescribed by Guruji to the devotees. There is no question of any commandments. When Guruji did not prescribe the standard set of rules, principles, practice, and disciplines, it is my considered viewpoint that there is no need to create a narrative of ritualistic, cultist, and dogmatic codes of conduct in the name of Guruji. So true, so true. This is what is happening currently. And we must be, see, it's a personalized relationship between आत्मा एंड परमात्मा. हमारा अपना, हम सब व्यक्तिगत रूप से ईश्वर को जानते, मानते, सुनते, पहचानते हैं उसी रूप में जैसे हम अपनी फैमिली में रहते हैं. वहां कोई आडंबर नहीं होता, दिखावा नहीं. ऐसे ही हमारा रिश्ता ईश्वर से, उसमें भी कोई ईश्वर से कुछ भी छुपा नहीं है. अगर हम हमारे अंदर कोई विकार हैं, वी मस्ट ओपन इट आउट इन फ्रंट ऑफ आवर लॉर्ड ऑलमाइटी गुरुजी. हमारे को कोई तरीके से उनकी पूजा, आराधना, अर्चना करना अच्छा लगता है, हम वो कर सकते हैं. अगर फिर भी कोई ऐसी बात जो गुरुजी ने कही है वो अगर समझ में नहीं आ रहे, तो हम वी कैन पुट इट अप टू गुरुजी ओनली कि गुरुजी मुझे इसका ये अर्थ समझ में आ रहा है, और गुरुजी वो आपके एहसास में आकर या जैसे भी वो मार्गदर्शन करते हैं. अब आगे, ड्रेस कोड एंड फूड हैबिट्स. There are accounts by some Sangat containing a rigid set of dresses, color coded to be worn, and particular food items to be eaten on each day of the week. This has been presented in a tabular form for easy comprehension of the readers. It may be true that these set of dresses or food to be taken were told by Guruji to that particular individual Sangat, but Guruji would not have said that each and every disciple should follow these dress codes and food habits. Guruji is beyond such dogmatic, ritualistic rigidities that are contrary to his encouragement of the freedom of choice to the devotees in respect of worldly as well as spiritual matters. Hence, the food and dress codes are contrary to Guruji's spiritual and philosophical essence. हमारी spiritual journey में जैसा गुरुजी ने भी समझाया, इसमें कोई स्थान नहीं है इन बातों का, क्योंकि स्पिरिचुअल जर्नी एक अलग ही मार्ग है, और उस पर गुरुजी को ध्यान, गुरुजी से ही निवेदन करना. हम, जैसा मैं पहले भी कह रहा था, कि हम जीवन में क्या करते हैं, कहाँ जॉब करते हैं, हम कहाँ रहते हैं, हम कैसे वस्त्र पहनते हैं, कैसे आभूषण पहनते हैं, हमको कौन सी कार पसंद है, हमको कौन सा ये पसंद है, वो सब हम वो स्वेच्छा व्रत करते हैं. गुरुजी ने कभी कहा व्रत ना करने के लिए, ऐसा नहीं कहा कि उन्होंने व्रत ना करें, लेकिन व्रत करके ईश्वर को पा लेना, ये एक बड़ी दो अलग अलग बातें हैं. तो इस तरह की बातें गुरुजी ने स्वयं भी समझाई. Hence, the food and dress codes are contrary to Guruji's spiritual and philosophical essence. He never preached a regimen of dress and food habits, not to speak of a diet chart for the week. If any devotee or Sangat was prescribed a diet chart, it was specific to the requirement of the particular Sangat. It is like he was prescribing distinct remedies for the cure of specific ailment suffered by the particular individual. In the spiritual context also, the paths or methods suggested to each aspirant were according to their spiritual moorings and attainment. The attempts to generalize and put up a standard to be followed by the Sangat was beyond Guruji's spiritual call. The saying and practices of Guruji regarding food and langar could be better appreciated in the spiritual tradition of this great land. The Vedic and other spiritual texts like the Bhagavad Gita speak of the spiritual significance and importance of food and food intake. The Indian spiritual tradition does not advocate for only vegetarian food. However, the principle of ahimsa, non-violence, enunciated in the Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita, does indirectly espouse vegetarianism. Guruji never preached what was to be eaten. He never prescribed the intake of intoxicating drinks like whiskey or wine to the devotees. But as a true Guru or enlightened master, he would lead by examples. He used to take a frugal meal of dal, lentil soup, a vegetable curry or preparation and chutney. He used to take a glass of milk or fresh juice. Guruji would not prohibit taking non-vegetarian food by any Sangat. It is up to the individual devotee to adopt a particular dress code or food habit. Sometimes some devotee would ask whether it is better to take vegetarian or non-vegetarian food. Guruji would not answer them directly. However, subtle hints would be there in a course of conversation as to what is preferred food for the particular Sangat. For the non-vegetarians, he would say, उन्हें नहीं पता कि वो क्या खा रहे हैं. They don't know what they are eating. While Guruji was staying with the Ahujas in Panchkula, we used to go there for Guruji's darshan almost every day. Guruji would direct the Sangat to accompany him to some social function or satsang organized by a particular Sangat. On one occasion, we were told to accompany him to Patiala to the wedding function of one of the Matkan's sons. Our daughter, Jenny, of 6 years, was also accompanying us. On the way, she suddenly told us that she feels Guruji is her heavenly father. We were surprised that these words were coming from the innocence of a 6-year-old. We bowed our head to Guruji, who was in the car just in front of us. After a couple of days, while having her meal, our daughter stated, "You people do not know what you eat. You are eating the flesh of the dead, fish, chicken, and meat." We were again stupefied. Guruji and God have given enough hints. Gradually, we were brought up with daily doses of non-vegetarian diet containing fish or meat turned vegetarians. Guruji had never asked us to become a vegetarian. So I think I'm on page 317, and this is the last para of page 317 about cleanliness of body, mind, clothes, kitchen, and surroundings. So I'll read that and then we'll take it up further. Guruji used to say, I'll read the heading, cleanliness of body, mind, clothes, kitchen, and surroundings. Guruji used to say, man saaf hona chahiye. The mind should be pure. The negative thought processes should be controlled by cultivating positive thinking and positive action. He also preached saying, positive sochya karo, positive kam karo, think positive and do positive. Guruji used to give a lot of importance to cleanliness of the kitchen in each household. The cleanliness extended beyond the physical cleanliness. It extended to the mental cleanliness of the person who cooks the food. He would have food in a house. He would have food in a house where the food is preferably cooked by the devotee themselves or by the domestic helpers with utmost devotion. In other places, he would politely decline to touch any food or beverages. The omniscient Guruji knew the standard of cleanliness of the kitchen in those houses. What he was hinting in a subtle manner was that our kitchen should be clean and the preparation of the food should be done with the right mindset or shraddha by the person cooking the food. Similarly, he would love the devotees to wear clean and neat clothes and also have clean bodily habits. Beyond that, he had not prescribed any dress code or food habit. This resonates well with the spiritual essence of Guruji, wherein he was espousing the concept and practice of positive thinking and positive activities, the cleanliness of the body and the environment, and the sattvic, pure nature of food and food preparation, with due regard to Anna Brahma, food that is Brahma, are the essentials for a clean mind and needs to be studied for spiritual attainment. गुरुजी ने एक बहुत ही बड़े ही सरल शब्दों में वो कहा करते थे, मन चंगा ते नलके दा पानी दी गंगा. So first of all, I'm grateful to the entire team of Suresh Vasan uncle, multilingual team, Roul uncle, and great to see DEEPAK MALHOTRA uncle today. So I'm sure Guruji के दिए हुए अपनी ब्लेसिंग्स को और उनके द्वारा जो दिया गया इस संदर्भ में ज्ञान है वो हमारे साथ बांटने वाले हैं. सो सबका धन्यवाद करते हुए, मेरे द्वारा अगर पाठ में जो भी गलतियां हुई हों उनके लिए क्षमा प्रार्थना करते हुए मैं सुरेश वासन अंकल को सौंपता हूं. अब आगे का कार्यक्रम कैसे है वो बढ़ाएं. धन्यवाद.
जय गुरुजी महाराज. Dhan Dhan Guruji Maharaj. Thank you, Gopal Sethi Uncle Ji, for your blissful narration and with pure भाव. मैं जनरल दीपक मल्होत्रा जी से रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा, प्लीज अपने आप को, प्लीज अगला पार्ट आप बताएं, अपने भाव बताएं प्लीज. जय गुरु जी, ओवर टू यू.
Jai Guruji, am I audible?
You are audible, uncle.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Roul. Thank you, Mr. Vasan and your team for giving me this opportunity to talk about the book written by Mr. Roul, Guruji's Life and Spiritualism. I have known Mr. and Mrs. Roul for over 30 years, and we have worked together on several issues concerning Guruji. We know each other and each other's thinking and ideas very well. Mr. Roul in this book has elucidated the life of Guruji, his ways, and connected the dots with spiritualism. The book is very rich in knowledge. It's based on Raul's faith, belief, and understanding of Guruji. He has summarized the spiritual aspects of Guruji in this book and also explained them along with rich scriptures of our religion. The main purpose is to make everyone understand these spiritual annotations, and it's important to imbibe them in our own lives. Congratulations to Mr. Roul for the success in writing down this wonderful book. May Guruji bless Raul's. Gopal uncle has read this chapter 13, page 307 to 317, very, very meticulously. I will try and elucidate on some important aspects further for ease of understanding. Chapter 13 talks about the maladies of interpretation. Some part has already been covered. The chapter essentially speaks of interpretation of what Guruji ever said while in physical form. The author has compared Guruji's short, terse, and brief statements, as Guruji did not have preaching sessions as such. I mean, it is akin to what he has talked about, to what Vivekananda ji had said in California a long time ago, that the real gurus don't really preach, because preaching is more academic. Whereas when you want the people to imbibe those qualities and bring them into your own lives and improve your lives and get closer to God, I believe. So you have to do more practical and have short statements. And he's also already talked about amorphism, and people have discussed it in the last session. He's also remember that the faith and belief was built up on following these statements in letter and spirit by us followers. Mr. Roul has also compared the aspect with yogis, as described also by Swami Vivekananda. Incidentally, Guruji had also asked certain people to read the autobiography of a yogi, including my wife Sudarshan was asked to read it. I also read some parts of it. When you start reading that book, it seems like the autobiography of our Guruji due to common aspects, similarities, and I found that as if it is written for Guruji. Guruji, of course, did not lay down any rules and some procedures, rigid procedures to be followed by us in our lives. Different people understood and followed Guruji in their own way, all the terse and short statements. It is the essence that is important. The essence of following Guruji is your bhav. What is your astha? What is your belief? किस भाव से आप जो भी करते हो, मनन करते हो या फॉलो करते हो या प्रेयर करते हो या मेडिटेशन करते हो, आप किस भाव से करते हो, वो बहुत जरूरी है. योर प्योर बिलीफ, selfless devotion, the spirits of a kind and loving person who gives more and demands nothing. It is that kind of bhav, if you start developing in yourself, you will certainly be closer to what Guruji wanted you to be. Purity of your soul is the most important aspect of following Guruji. All followers must make efforts to achieve these qualities, because that is the only way you can prepare yourself to receive Guruji's blessings for always. Aphorism has already been discussed in the last session, and Mahavakyas of Guruji have also been discussed. It's important to understand that meanings and lessons derived must lead to the achieve own purification. Whatever meanings you take from these Mahavakyas and other things which have been talked about, what Guruji had said, it's important to derive the correct lessons from them to achieve your own purification and betterment. That is the essence, I believe. Guruji's words, be positive, don't have doubts. वहम नहीं करीदा. आदमी तो पानी भी फूक फूक के पीता है. And that is the kind of statement he said to tell you, do not have any vahams and be positive in life and be concentrated towards your goal or your achievements. Once again, no vahams, no rituals, no rules, only purity of mind, hearts, and soul is required. There is one Shabad also, ज्यों ज्यों तेरा मन निर्मल होएगा, त्यों त्यों अच्छे ख्याल आएंगे और प्रभु की प्राप्ति होगी. This is the essence of one of the Shabads which usually was played in the mandir as well. On page 307, Mr. Roul talks of the Shiv Puran, which repeatedly talks about Puran Guru and its equivalence with Lord Shiva. Puran Guru is Shiva and Shiva is Puran Guru. That is the essence of following Guruji, whom we always believed was Shivji himself. After some time, when we realized what he was doing, what he was capable of, and how the people were getting blessed. This is the important aspect to always remember. We have seen Guruji giving life to people, new life, extension of life, and also new life when it wasn't medically possible to some mothers. Guru Srotam also says the same thing. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Maheshwara, we pray to you. Everywhere you come to the same conclusion. Roul has also talked about Guruji selected his disciples. This is a fact, because not everyone was allowed to be part of Sangat. And that is the reason there was no publicity. You could only come by knowing about Guruji from word of mouth. And that also, you are accepted only if Guruji wills it. So that is the direct impact or direct proof that Guruji selected his disciples very carefully. Guruji wanted to awaken the inner sense in you, the soul within you, and to awaken the Lord Shiva within the disciples. That is what page 307 also talks of in the book. There is a good man in you, there's a Lord Shiva in you. He wants to awaken that part for you to purify yourself, because God's only come there where there's purity. And that is where Guruji wanted to bless you And first he wanted to purify you so that you could receive those blessings and retain them for your life. In simple terms, he wanted the disciples to elevate their thinking along with the purity of mind and cleanse their hearts, souls, and become humble and kind in life. It reminds me of a lady who was working, cleaning the mandir in Jalandhar one day. तो बहुत अच्छे से सफाई कर रही थी, बहुत खुश थी कि आज उसको ये मौका मिला है कि मैं मंदिर की सफाई करूं, बिकॉज हर किसी को ये मौका नहीं मिलता था. जब वो कर रही थी तो गुरुजी बाहर आए, उसने देखा तो बड़ी खुश हुई कि गुरुजी को भी देखा कि मैं देखो आज मंदिर की सफाई कर रही हूँ. तो जब मंदिर की सफाई पूरी हो गई तो गुरुजी आए तो पूछा उनसे, मंदिर साफ हो गया? हाँ जी गुरुजी, हो गया. She folded her hands and said, and Guruji promptly said, "हुन अपने मन नु साफ करो." Cleaning outside is good, but you also must clean up your mind, clean up your heart. That is equally important, or more important actually, most important. That is the most important seva you can do, by cleaning yourself from inside so that Guru can easily give his blessings to you and you can receive them. Then Mr. Roul also talks about reading of Shiv Puran. Guruji did ask many disciples to read Shiv Puran, including my wife, to understand Guruji as Lord Shiva actually. That's what we found. As we read more of Shiv Puran, my wife used to read more, I seldom. But the more she read, the more she realized and equated Guruji with Lord Shiva himself. And also the Shiv Puran reading started cleaning you from inside, because you started looking inwards, trying to interpret the parts of Shiv Puran applying to you from inside. And it talks about the Lord Shiva within you to be awakened. That means you got to be as good and important, as clean, humble, kind, and giving in life. That is what was the purpose of reading Shiv Puran. Mere reading, of course, like a book, will have no effect on you. Author also describes the Bhakti Yoga on 309 as the best way in Kali Yuga. Listening to satsangs, kirtan, and manan, remembering and praying to Lord Shiva or to Guruji. These are the simple ways by which we can understand Guruji and also reach out to Guruji and make a connection. Guruji would say that, "Tar ke saath tar milao, phir dekho tamasha." The blessings will flow when you connect in the purest way and directly with Guruji in this manner. It is all to enlighten yourself from within. It is a path towards spiritualism, I would say. Secondly, it improves the concentration to overcome day-to-day distractions, which is obvious. It takes a little time, but after a few times that you have practiced, you start being able to concentrate. It is basically to improve your self-realization and awaken your super consciousness. Guruji would often say, "Apna bhanda saaf karo." Once again, is another item that he used to use, that clean up from inside and then you will receive the blessings. At times, people were not ready. Everybody was not allowed to stay. Guruji would say, "Halle tera time nahi hoya, saal de baad aana, 6 mahine de baad aana." This used to happen. Raul also has described very nicely, very wonderfully, 3 levels of spiritual understanding and connectivity towards the Almighty. First, simple people managing their lives who understand spirituality and goodness is limited to own improved action, kindness, and thoughts, and which leads to a peaceful life that they have and a happy life they have. Second, a lot of people are the next level, which describe the spirituality seekers and wanting to understand spirituality, wanting to be close to God. And Guruji helped them to virtually surrender in the best possible manner, living a normal life as well. And to to the Guru as well as to the Almighty. He guided you to be there. And the third is the highest level of enlightenment, I would say, and where own soul has attained full synchronization with the Almighty, thinking in the same manner, behaving in the same level. Such people are very, very rare. They are more saintly, actually, more saints. Such people get detached from Lord Shiva oil. They're akin to Lord Shiva themselves. A very rare phenomenon. Then Raul goes on to page 1-3, he goes to talking about manifestation of dreams. The important aspect is that manifestation by people now could lead to misrepresentation and can be misused purely for self-glory and self-importance, which happens. We can see people who are doing that, and we can see through them also. It's a dangerous trend. Then, to my mind, the correct manifestation can be drawn from these telepathies and dreams if they are in sync with Guruji's overall thoughts and meanings conveyed by Guruji when he was present. If you draw the conclusion in the same direction, then probably you will be on the right path. However, such happenings are personal and cannot be universally applied. That must be remembered. Some of the dreams may be only meant for you and not necessarily to be shared, and especially standing in a satsang and talking about that. Then on page 314, the important aspect Mr. Roul talks about is commandments of Guruji. That's really surprising. If the commandments were to be written and stated such, it would have happened in Guruji's time. It didn't have to happen after he has gone. It's true that Guruji did not lay down any rules and regulations. And if Guruji asked Sangat to carry out some actions, they were of general nature and meant for guidance in the direction to be a better human being. The important aspect always remains and will remain is the bhav and astha. Whenever you have a satsang, you attend a satsang, किस भाव से आप अटेंड करते हो, किस आस्था से डिपेंड करते हो, उसी तरीके से आप उनको इम्बाइब करोगे कि जो आप शब्द सुन रहे हो या सत्संग सुन रहे हो उसमें से क्या लेसन्स आपको मिल रहे हैं और क्या क्या आपको घर में ले जाना है. It's a process to evolve yourself. It is all for yourself. Look within you. Then Mr. Rao also talks of the dress code and food habits. Guruji did talk of colors of clothes to be worn on different days of the week, as well as the kind of food to be eaten. Generally, one item in the food or in the entire day of one particular type to be eaten. I have heard it many times in front of me, both in Jalandhar and Delhi. However, they were very casual recommendations that should be taken as such. They're not to be considered as any ultimate rules or authoritarian commands. And no undue importance is to be given to these things. If you wish to follow, they're fine. There's something recommended by Guruji. But however, they were of least importance for the spiritual path to be followed. Everything then falls back on the basics of improving yourself, following your spiritual connection, spiritual path. These are all side issues. About vegetarianism, true, some Sangat was told to continue to eat non-veg if they feel like. Others were told to turn vegetarian also. They were told directly by Guruji. We asked once the same thing because Guruji was telling a couple of people in front of us, 1, 2, and we also managed to ask Guruji whether we should stop non-vegetarian. His only casual reply was, "Change rahoge, achhe rahoge." And then that was enough hint for us to turn vegetarian. However, this cannot be again applied universally, I will say. It is generally accepted that only vegetarian food was served when Guruji came to any function, of course. And Guruji did support you if you turn to vegetarianism. Page 1317 are some important aspects, practical aspects covered, basically about cleanliness. Cleanliness, yes. Guruji was very, very assertive about cleanliness. I remember in Bade Mandir when we used to do the seva about organizing the functions. In fact, initially, Guruji used to stay there after the people have left and only the sevadars are there. We were told to clean up the mandir, remove all flowers, all decorations, and clean up the mandir completely. And that we used to end up finishing by about 4 or 5 in the morning. And Guruji used to sit there with some Sangat and leave after the mandir was completely cleaned after the function, the big function I'm talking about. So you can imagine how much importance he gave to cleanliness. And also, when he came to your house, he would come to those houses which are generally kept clean, especially the kitchens. In fact, I know of a person who was directly told by Guruji of keeping the kitchen clean, cleaning up everything at night, and make sure you sleep after cleaning the kitchen properly. And second thing was positive thoughts and actions. I already said, log to pani ko bhi phuk phuk kar peete hain. So you have that much of negative thoughts in your mind. I don't think it's going to help you. Always have positive thoughts. Even something which doesn't seem very good or very convincing at that time, you will find if you keep your positive thoughts alive, you will realize the true meaning after some time as the time happens. Food at home, yes, Guruji was always recommending कि खाना खुद बनाया करो. He used to tell the ladies, prepare the food yourself at home. Of course, sometimes it's not possible, but generally that should be the trend. And as far as the langar, which was made for Empire State for years together, my wife Sudarshan, along with 7-8 ladies nominated by Guruji, could only come and make the langar. And nobody else could join just like that. And also Guruji had strict instructions that while preparing the langar in Bade Mandir, they will play Shabad Kirtan throughout when the langar is being made. And there has to be no loose talk or gossip during that period. So these are the things which I could add on with my own understanding and experience. And just a few more points I would like to add. Guruji followed practical ways of telling people or teaching people rather than just telling them to go to meditation. He should do practical things for people, practical means to show, and he would say that as he practical karke dikhane hai, and showing the results of his actions, basically to put the faith and belief in you, whether it was curing people of illness, mental depressions, or controlling things in their life. He did not hold any pravachans as such, which we know, because they would be just pure academic in nature. To build your faith in your Sangat and your people who follow you, you need to be practical and show the practical results as well. Because the belief is important. Finally, you must build up that belief. At times, reason and logic failed and reality won. The aphorism of Guruji was interpreted by different people in different ways, depending on your own spiritual level, of course. It depends which level are you on. And all these had very deep meanings, which whosoever understood could benefit from it. Then next point that I'd like to mention is Mr. Roul also talked on page 308. The aspect of reading Shiv Puran is relevant to understand that when Guruji asked someone to read Shiv Puran, he meant for us to understand the meaning of what is written and also imbibe it in your own lives. That is what is required. Roughly, I would say what is written in that is the relationship between the Puran Guru, Mahayogi, and Lord Shiva, and also how we can improve our spiritual levels, and also understand and acknowledge Lord Shiva in the form of Guruji, as explained, which we could correlate many times. Mere reading without understanding Shiv Puran would be of no use to us. It is very widely said, knowing is not enough. We must apply. And willing is not enough. We must do. We must understand that here as well. Guruji was helping to open the doors of spirituality to people and to all of us and initiate us. But the walk into it has to be done by us, our efforts. He will show you the way, but we have to walk the path. The repeated manan, satsangs, kirtan, and listening to Gurbani helps us to concentrate on inner self and self-realization and overcome the frequent distractions of life. Those 2 hours that we spend, they're the wonderful period of our lives and of the day. Using your heart to understand, not your brain, because logics don't work here. Overcoming the logics of our minds will help us understand the Guru Mahima and the spiritual level more, even more. The importance of Shiv Tattva has been talked of. It's amply clear, as Guruji always had this roop of Lord Shiva, and both in Bade Mandir as well as wherever he's had the satsangs held, and Guru Nanak Dev Ji, both in Mandir Jalandhar and Delhi. Even Bada Mandir, we already talked about. Mr. Gopal has already mentioned about the huge shivling on top of the mandir. Then Guruji, in all these terms, impressed upon the Sangat to understand the Shiv Tattva and follow the yogic life. Partly, maybe, may not be of that of saints and who have gone and settled down in the mountains. But even in your daily life, you can follow the yogic life, and we must understand the essence of it and realize the ultimate truth. How to explain this properly and very detailed on page 311 and 312. Raul has also talked about cleaning of your mind, which is more important than physical cleanliness. I have already mentioned this part, I think. And with this, I believe and I understand that it's a wonderful book to explain the spiritual nuances of Guruji in as simple terms as can be for the Guruji's Sangat to understand, or anybody who reads to understand and realize who Guruji is. And as we know, the Lord Shiva himself, even if some people don't, but they will understand what Guruji stands for, the improvement of mankind and the people who follow him. Once again, heartiest congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. Roul for a wonderful book, but I'm sure Mrs. Roul has also contributed to the book. Thank you very much. Thank you all. Jai Guruji.
Jai Guruji Maharaj. Thanks a lot, General DEEPAK Malhotra ji. It was a memorable session indeed. All of us heard your inner bhavs. I'll request Raul Uncle ji, please, over to you. Gopal Sethi Uncle ji, over to you also. You may open your video, please. I am receiving the request from Sangat ji also. That all the, yes, Jai Guruji.
Jai Guruji. Today, we are the second session on chapter 13. Both Gopal Uncle and General Malhotra, good friends, ardent followers of Guruji, and good analysts, one can say. Both of them, they have explained the chapter in their own manner beautifully. I don't think I will add anything more. The way they have explained, Gopal uncle read the book in detail and added his interpretation wherever there is a requirement. General Malhotra, he took quite a very in-depth analysis, taking the entire spiritual essence of a Guruji. He relates the present chapter to that. So when we say maladies of interpretation, the chapter I have already spoken in the previous day or previous session, that sometimes intending or whether we have an intention or not, sometimes we take things literally and misinterpret. And sometimes we, as old Sangat, or maybe new Sangat, whatever they heard from the old Sangat, they tend to prescribe certain rigid systems. That becomes the problematic. Problematic in the sense that accept the spiritual essence of a Guruji, what he was driving, what he was showing us, what kind of guidance he was giving to us. He was showing a path, as General Malhotra rightly said. He was showing a path, but the paths also may vary from individual to individual, depending upon their own inclination, their spiritual understanding, spiritual attainment. So there is no rigid system that you adopt these steps 1 to 16 or 1 to 15. This is Guruji has said so, and you will, whatever, you attain this or that. That is the problem, and that is why this chapter was said, maladies of interpretation. That means it may lead to missing the real thing for something else. For example, the other day I attended a satsang. Somebody asked me, आरती कैसे करना चाहिए गुरुजी के सत्संग में? That is the then I said, पहले तो आपको पूछना चाहिए था कि आरती होना चाहिए या नहीं होना चाहिए. Has Guruji prescribed a rigid system of आरती? Then आरती कैसे करना है वो अलग चीज है. What is you have the kind of जैसे वासन अंकल काफी टाइम बोलते हैं कि भाव, in which way you are approaching Guruji, how you are concentrating, how you are remembering Guruji, and how you are inculcating the values, the paths guided by Guruji. That is more important than rigidly following the steps of doing this and that. That does not imply that we discourage not to have a very systematic way and disciplined way of conducting satsang or doing satsang. Because then if everything is allowed, then that also leads to distraction, and that also misses the essence. But keeping that broad guideline in mind, let us not follow some kind of a rigidity in a spiritual system. As Guruji has said, man saaf hona chahiye. You realize the goodness in you, goodness in others also, because God resides within everybody. And changa karam karo, have empathy and kind of love and affection for everybody, including both human beings and non-human beings. and try to help others. Like he was saying, कि follow the path as Guru Nanak has said, कि सेवा करो, लोगों की मदद करो, so चंगा कर्म करो. These kind of things are more important than rigidly, like we have said in this chapter, read Shiv Puran. Reading Shiv Puran is not important. Capturing the essence why we should read Shiv Puran and what is there in Shiv Puran is more important. But somebody says, Guruji said, read Shiv Puran. Are, you are not reading Shiv Puran? You are not true follower of Guruji. A. B. I had read Shiv Puran every day, one chapter. हो गया मेरा काम खत्म. भाई शिव पुराण में क्या है? What is there to learn? How to inculcate those values within yourself, and how to understand the greatness of Lord Shiva and equate our Guruji to Lord Shiva, because in his life, whatever we have, what we have observed about Guruji, like General Malhotra was saying, autobiography of a yogi, and many others, it is the same as like the life history of our Guruji. So we have seen him, we have understood, realized he's as Lord Shiva. So that is the essence of reading Shiv Puran. So similarly, interpretation of dreams. It has been beautifully explained. I need not again go into that. Dreams are personal. Sometimes when you generalize it, there are instances among the Sangat, people who have misutilized that. कि गुरुजी ने सानू टेलीपैथी में ये चीज बताए हैं, तुम ये करो वो करो. Instances are there. So when the thing is private, the thing is personal to you, you want to generalize and you use at a Guruji's command, that is going to create problem. And Guruji's name, glory, also will be dented. And that's why people should not encourage this kind of things. Yes, it has been already shown. You may have dreams about Guruji. Guruji might have given you the message. Keep it to yourself. If you want, you follow that. But don't prescribe that to others. कि ये करना चाहिए. Somebody, like one example has been given. Somebody comes, have a dream and says कि आपका डेकोरेशन में आज ये होना चाहिए. आज सत्संग आप कर रहे हो, आपके डेकोरेशन में ये होना चाहिए. That becomes problematic. ठीक है? The person who dreams, or the person who himself or herself is conducting the satsang, he gets a message, let him do and keep it to herself. That is the essence. Don't make telepathy as a commandment of a Guruji, and commandment for everybody to follow. Similarly, I have in this chapter, we have distinguished between what is a commandment, what is the concept of a commandment. In our spiritual tradition, there is no concept of a commandment, no rigid. Commandment means an authoritarian, rigid rule and regulations to be followed by the followers. If our system, spiritual tradition, including Guruji, what has taught to us, does not include that, now why we should tell? If Guruji has said something, why we put it as commandments of Guruji? So that was the intention. All those Mahabakyas which have been quoted have been told by Guruji. We don't deny that. But take it in a spirit, putting the broader sense of Guruji's spiritualism, put those things and try to understand that way. No literal meaning of those sayings. So with this, I think I'll conclude. Not much to add what already beautifully has been said by Gopal uncle and General Malhotra. Thank you very much, Vasan uncle and the multilingual satsang team for giving this kind of beautiful platform for analysis of the book. And today I am again thankful to Gopal uncle and General Malhotra, good friends, for joining and explaining the chapter and Guruji sessions in most simple manner. I also thank all the participants who have joined today in the Zoom platform. Jai Guruji.
Jai Guruji Maharaj. Dhan Guruji Maharaj. Thanks a lot, everyone. General Malhotra, Gopal Sethi Uncle Ji, Raul Uncle, and all the participants. My humble request is on 24th of this month, that will be the day when there will be the concluding session of this book, 24th of January. And our respected Usha Bhasin ji will be the reader come analyst on that day. And Shri Uday Jaina ji will be the interventionist along with Dr. Raul. So my humble request is to spread this message to the Guru Sangat, because after 24th, we may not be able to hear English version of this book. Henceforth, whenever there is a Agya from Maharaj, we will be organizing the sessions of this book in Hindi language and other languages henceforth. And now I'll request host to take Agya from Guruji Maharaj.
Jai Guruji.
Jai Guruji.